friends, welcome to Wild Cottage. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you have watched some other videos. Breezy. If it's too much, we'll have to go into the polytunnel again. This is the west of Ireland and there's usually at least a small breeze. So in between the breezes, before we move into the polytunnel, I'll tell you, my name is Susan. This is Shep. He's a retired sheepdog. I live here with my partner Tom in County Clare in the west of Ireland. We're up in the hills, and we also have a rescue dog, Mimi. And we have what we call a small holding for nature in the hills of County Clare, where we grow pretty much all our own vegetables. We have a natural dye garden, and we have rare species bats here that we have made a special roost for in the barn. We have the endangered hen harrier. This is prime hen harrier area. It's Ireland's most endangered bird of prey. And so we do all the sort of homey things here. We build a few different things which we may talk about in this video a little bit. And you're very welcome to this channel, and I hope you enjoy the video. Well, hello. Hi friends, we're back again. It is the same day, it's just a little bit later in the day. The solar panels have all gone on the roof. I'll show you a little glimpse of that later on. It gotten cloudier, it's still breezy, but I've come to this side of the natural dyes garden so we won't have microphone problems. And so I've also changed because we went out and did some errands and it was getting a bit chillier. So I showed you this in another podcast, but I want to ask a wee question about what you guys think. So this is one of the easiest Stephen West shawls. So if you want to do a Stephen West shawl and you're not sure because you think maybe it's a bit too much for you and you want something just really relaxing and kind of mindless, the CurvetteShawl it might be his easiest one. I have only knitted two, so I don't know, but I know that this is pretty straightforward. Now, I made a few kind of unintentional and then intentional modifications. And what I'd like to know is that in this pattern, what you do with your lace weight, which is usually a mohair, but I just did a lace weight, is you have these rows, which are going to be like the really simple lace kind of stitch. And because some of the times I forgot and just made it the straightforward garter stitch, it turned out a little differently. And when I got to the point where I had so many stitches on the needles, garter stitch was just a little bit easier for me to do rather than picking up the little lace stitches for so many stitches. So yes, so mine is a combination. Now what I haven't blocked it, although it's washed. And the reason I didn't pin it out and block it, and one reason I don't want to go ahead and pin it out and block it, is because can you see these little sort of puckering or ripples? It's actually, where they're doing it is super nice the way it's falling on my body, because it gives it a little, sort of like a ruffle right here and a little bit up here. And in the video clip in podcast 19, I think it is, you can see it from a distance. And I love the way it hangs, but it looks like where it's doing that is where I have done a lot of just the garter stitch the whole way. And then I start with a few rows of that, knit two together, yarn over, sort of simple lace stitch. And that's giving it the ruffle. So I'm thinking that's what's giving it the ruffle. But, I haven't done enough of that thing to know for certain. So I'm just wondering, you know, you super experienced knitters, is that what is making it that little puckered? And if I then, I mean, is that going to come out with time? Because I would rather it didn't. I really like that. And if, you know, if that just, you know, the different stitch there, wind. So is that different type? I'm going to have to go in. All right. This is, I'll show you this. My friend Susanna gave me this. It's an artist friend of hers made it out of straw and plaster, I think. It's a fox and it's got like a rat in its mouth, which is very much like the Foxy that used to come around our friend. She was such a good ratter. And her offspring still come around, but none of them are like as bold and friendly as, you know, as unafraid of us as she was, which is probably a good thing, you know, because we were very careful never to try to touch her or anything like that, because we didn't want her to think people were, you know, great. So yeah, wild foxes need to be careful. Anyhow, so yeah, so that's what's there. And these are some of our apricot salix tomatoes. Oh, and even on a cloudy day, it's maybe in the low 60s Fahrenheit. And I'll try to say Fahrenheit most of the time because I know like the majority of my viewers are in the US. So, but it's warm in the polytunnel, so I had to take off my shawl because it's just too hot. So what is going to be in the podcast today? There are going to be a finished object and some progress on jumpers, some modeling of the jumper by Tom and by me. And I'm going to talk about, of course, the Curiostitches cowl that we have going, and also the prizes. I'm going to tell you the winners of the Colourwork Celebration prize giveaway that I'm doing. So I'll announce those 4 winners. And also for the Curiostitches cowl starts officially, I mean, we've been like, go ahead and use the hashtag, you'll get entered in. But officially it starts on Friday, Saturday, the 24th, right around the autumn equinox there, which I think is officially Friday. But yeah, so then we're going to start drawing weekly prizes for that cowl. And we're going to take it in turns to do the prizes. So this week is me here at Wild Cottage, and then next week is Carrie at my Wool Mitten, and she's going to open her Instagram back up again because she had gotten locked out. She couldn't get back in, which was a pity because she was very active on there and had a lot of followers. So she's going to probably open, I think it may be open already, a new Instagram, probably under my Wool Mitten Farm, because she raises sheep for wool, and she has done for many years, breeding Corriedales, and now she's also going into Shetland sheep. So yeah, and then on the 3rd week, so in the rotating basis, will be Ellie, the designer herself, at Curiostitches, and she's Curiostitches on Instagram and here on YouTube. So what you should do is take a picture of your object, whether it's your cast on, your yarn, for that you're knitting with any Curiostitches pattern, and she has 15 at the minute, and there are more coming. There's an ebook coming of all the casting rune patterns at the end of this month on the 30th of September. So, and the knit along is running from the 24th of September to the 31st of December. There are a lot of little good things for gifts that are smaller. There's some jumpers, and they're for anybody, you know. So they're all very size inclusive. If you're, you know, any gender, perfect. They're for anybody. So, pardon me. So anything that you're knitting from her, Curiostitches cowl hashtag, and we'll be drawing from that every week on Instagram. Also, if you don't have Instagram, you're only here on YouTube. If you email Carrie at mywoolmitten@gmail.com, and all information and links will be in the description box under this video, then we can enter you in that way as well. So, yes. And the prizes are going to be a combination of patterns and some little physical prizes, and also there'll be some yarns and different things, and at the end there'll be like the bigger grand prize for the finishing of the cow, but you don't have to finish your object. The point is really, we just want Ellie's patterns to be better known. She's a small designer. She's trying to build up her business. She has a unique aesthetic, and we think there are many of you that will enjoy that, and it's so hard to get noticed, you know yourself. So we just want you to check out our patterns, knit along. You don't have to finish. There's no pressure, and you'll still be entered for the draw. So yeah. So Editing Susan popping in to say that if you happen to see this, I'm going to try to get it up ASAP before this Saturday coming, the 24th, that Carrie of My Wool Mitten on her YouTube channel is also doing a giveaway for any Curiostitches pattern. Just leave a comment on her video letting her know which pattern you'd like. See her video for more. I'll link it below. That's that. And so that will start on the 24th, and I will draw the winner of the first week on whatever that next Saturday is. It's the 30th, isn't it? Yes, it's the 30th, I believe, of September. So here comes Mimi. What you doing, missus? Are you coming to say hi as well? Yeah. Oh yeah, those are, they love tomatoes, but you're not going to eat any of those because Mommy says no. And okay, so okay, are you going? Are you leaving us? What are you doing? Sorry. Hope you like dogs. I hope you're not afraid of dogs, because you won't probably enjoy a lot of this podcast because there's often canine friends, furry friends. Okay, so let's just start here. I have. It's okay. What are you doing? She wants to play. That was a hard, let me grab your neck and play, but he doesn't want to play. This is not a podcast about dogs. Oh, maybe it is. It's not supposed to be a podcast about dogs, is it? Okay, I can't show my socks if you're in my lap. I can't show my socks when you're in my lap. No. So, what are you doing? You lay down. But not completely on me. Oh, here she comes. I think we're going to have bloopers at the end, maybe. Okay. Oh, there's strawberries. No, you're not going to eat the strawberries either. Yeah, okay. I know you're grazing. You're looking for stuff. You my girl. You my girl. You my little girl. You are my little girl. You my little boy. Yeah. You say hi? Are you saying hi? Yeah. Doggies. I think I'm going to have to kick you out. Okay, go. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. So, finished object. I have finished my Halloween yarn socks. They are yarn that I got at the charity shop. And I will just put on the screen the name of the dyer. So the main body is the Ghosts and Goblins colorway held with a West Yorkshire Spinners colorway. And I've knit them, it's a DK weight sock by holding the two fingers together. So the Ghouls and Goblins sock set had plain orange. So I've just held the West Yorkshire Spinners in the whole way, along with the sock set of the Ghouls and Goblins. And I basically, because I just kind of make short socks, I probably have enough to make another pair. And the way I make my socks is I follow Denise of Earth Tones Girl Shadow Wrap Heel tutorial, which I really love, fits me really well. And for the toe, I do the spiral toe that Roxanne Richardson does. And I just really like them. They're easy because I don't have to pick up stitches and I don't have to do Kitchener stitch. And I don't have a sock blocker, but I think, let's just look at them on. I did wear them one day already, but there they are. That's the Shadow Wrap heel. And they're only short, you see there. And yeah. See, there's my toe. So they're really cute. I'm very excited to have Halloween yarns this year. I bought some last year, and I got some this year as well, which I showed you before. And I just really enjoy autumn, and I enjoy Halloween and dressing up. Although, as I think I mentioned before, now that we're not living in the village, we don't get trick-and-treaters, and so I don't dress up. I used to dress up and wear, you know, my big witchy outfit, and I had all the decorations and that would hang and laugh and motion oriented, and so I gave them all to friends of ours that live in a town. But yeah, so now I just knit Halloween things for myself, and I have a new cast on that I'll show you in a minute that is Halloweeny as well. So that it was my finished object. Actually, I'll stick in here a sort of half-finished object, which is the Drop Dead Freddy jumper by Cat Weaver of Heather and Hops, and it's a work in progress, but I wanted to try it on Tom. Sure, I'll put this in now. Here we have my work in progress. This is the working title of the Drop Dead Freddy jumper, so obviously it looks like a vest now, and I have to still pick up sleeves. And this is a test knit for Cat Weaver of Heather and Hops, and I'm making it for Tom to give us a spin. Look at that. Woo! So yeah, turn around, and so it's super soft out of, I have merino held double here, and you might be able to see a lovely gold sparkle in it. And then the merino, no, I keep saying merino, it's mohair. The mohair held with the Crimdale colorway from Robin's Promise yarn. And yeah, it's just for a really soft, snuggly fit. And I might make it a bit longer. I just bound off with regular old bind off. I don't know if it has a name, but just the first one you learn, because I thought if it needed to be longer, then I would pick up the stitches and make a little ribbing or whatnot. But because I wasn't certain how much it was going to stretch at blocking, and I've washed it, but I haven't actually pinned it out to block it. But how do you feel about that length?
I don't know. I think so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more cropped than the traditional male sweater. Put your arms up.
Yeah, it'll make more sense when it's sleeves.
Yeah, it will. So it's in the pattern. I'm knitting Tom size 5, and I stopped about 2-3 inches from what was recommended, because I just wasn't sure how much this was going to stretch, because according to my swatch that I had washed and all, it stretched quite a bit. So yeah, so we'll see. I might add a little bit of length on it, and we didn't want to do it with too much ease. He's just going to wear a light tee under it, a long sleeve tee probably, but yeah, I think it's just going to be so cozy. Yeah, and just want to make sure I make the sleeves large enough. So yeah, thank you, Tom. Okay, I'm going to insert this in here. Not only is it windy out, but the people that are coming to install our solar panels arrived early, so okay, and this is the day I have to film. So I wanted to show you what this looks like on me, although you'll also see it on Tom because it's being knit for Tom. I would wear like a size 4. I can also wear it, so this is really great. It's a very size inclusive pattern, and anybody can wear it. So I can borrow his. So even though I'm a good bit shorter, so it's probably like, in a way, this is over just a little cotton dress. It's really kind of cute as a vest. She wants to take it for herself, she says. Anyway, I can knit another one for myself, but I don't have any more of this incredibly soft, sparkly mohair that has gold in it, because it was a thrifted find. Okay, you might hear the guys. So anyhow, this is it. There still are ends. Just give you a little wee look at it, and yeah, it's a simple knit, fun pattern. Is very clear. So this is a look at it on me. Okay, better stop. There's that frog again. That, do you remember from last week? That frog is in there. It's in there. It's in the... Oh, and look what else is in there. Yummy strawberry. Yeah, because it's in this bed that's right beside me, because when I just reached in there, it stopped croaking. Because they come in the polytunnel. and hibernate, and so do the newts, and so do like voles and shrews. And shrews eat. It's in that bed somewhere. See, that's so many strawberries in there. That's a good hiding place. The voles and shrews come in here in the winter as well, and mice, and yeah. Anyway. Oh my goodness. So we're going to maybe hear that frog again. Maybe not, because I reached in there, but we'll see. That's what Mimi was trying to get earlier. What was I talking about? Oh, I think I was inserting the jumper for Tom in here. Okay, so that's all inserted. Woo. Right, so works in progress. So my other work in progress is the one you've also seen with the Halloweeny theme, which is my ranunculus that I'm doing with the Abracadabra Halloween yarns from Vera Yarns Design, who is located in Dublin, but she ships internationally, and she's made 3 different Halloween colorways, and I got the Abracadabra, both on her high twist merino base and her mohair base. And this is, nope, I'm holding it. So this is where I was when I showed it to you last. I have my little haunted house. I got a lot of, when I was in the States last year, I went to like Michael's and or Joann's and got a lot of these little dangly things that I've turned into stitch markers by just using a bulb pin of different colors. So yeah, or progress keepers. I've turned them into progress keepers. So yeah, so this is going to be, this will be, where's my beginning around? Here. Have I stopped in the middle of a row? No, I haven't. So this is going, gosh, it looks so small, but it's on because it's on a small needle. I'm knitting it on a 5.5 because I don't want it to be quite so big. I'm knitting size 1. So I'm knitting the updated pattern where there are actual sizes. And size 1 goes up to, is like 46 inches. And I have about a 38-inch bust. So, and I don't want quite that amount of positive ease. So I've gone down to a 5.5. And after I finish sort of the yoke, I'm going to take my gauge and see, you know, where I am and do I want to drop down any more or am I happy? But so what I'm doing is I'm going to knit the section 3, which is the yoke, in the lace weight mohair held double and see where I am, because the high twist merino has I think it's 365 meters and 100 grams, whereas usually your fingering weights have about 400, and I can get a short sleeve ranunculus out of 400 meters. I was thinking this might be a little short, and I want to wear this more in winter, obviously with lace weight held double, mohair held double. I'll be roasting, and so I want it to be a little bit longer. So thus I decided to add a lot of the mohair here. And then seeing what's left over, then I'll do sleeves in the mohair, however long. But yeah, I think that's going to be really fun. I'm just experimenting. This is the first time that I have, you know, changed the pattern that much. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm very excited. And it's a lovely yarn. And I'll just show you her tag there. So that's Vera Yarns Design, and so that's the Abracadabra on the merino, and that's the mohair, so you can see it there in a ball. So yay, that's fun. Now my other work in progress, it actually was a bit of a UFO. Oops. And I had started this when I was up at Susanna's helping with lambing in February. And then not long after that, my fibromyalgia just flared so much and I couldn't knit for quite some time. So I set this down and I didn't pick it up again. But it's actually working out great, because this is what I'm going to knit for the first part anyway of the Curiostitches cowl, because this is one of Curiostitches. She's, I think, on Ravelry, her patterns are under her name as Elspeth Willis. So look for them there. And then she has her own website, Curiostitches.com, where I think all the patterns are up on there now as well. So these are her Elhaz rune mitts. And what's so funny, totally inadvertently, is that, like, so in January of this year, I was like, I really want to try new things. I want to try, you know, color work. I want to try cables. I'd like to try beading. And the way it worked out is that all three of those new things to me, I have tried out on Ellie's patterns. And if you watch this before, you find, like, knitting does not come naturally to me. My brain doesn't quite really work on that sort of spatial way, and I get easily lost, and I have, anyway, so sometimes it takes me a while to grasp things, particularly as I have left eye dominance, but I'm right-handed. And I was told this by my optometrist, who made this her special area of study, is that a lot of times people like that, we have a hard time translating what we see or read into actually doing. So we see it and like, yeah, I can do that. Or we read it and think, yeah, I can do that. But then when your hand actually goes to do it, it's like there's some kind of weird dyslexia. So yes, that is true for me. So, but I've been able to do these patterns. If I've needed help, Ellie's been really good and helped me. And the Elhaz room mats are cable and beading. And I had started that. So let's see. So I'll try not to cover my face when I'm speaking. So you can see the little beads on there in the beginning of the pattern. And also the first time I ever did a thumb, because I don't do DPN. So I just have the shorty set of the Chalgoos, which are my favorite needles ever. And I managed to do this with my little Chalgoos. And then you can see I was not at home when I did that. I didn't have a little stitch holder thing. So I used one of those twisty ties. Anyway, so that's how far I got, and then I stopped. So I'm going to pick those up. And the yarn I'm using is, I had a sock set that I got 2 Christmases ago. Oh, that's what happens when you leave something for a while. And it was dyed by Giddy Aunt Yarns, and they dye up in Northern Ireland. And they did a Christmas sock set called Shortbread. And Tom loves shortbread, and I give him shortbread every Christmas. And it comes in a tin that's with tartan because it's Scottish shortbread. So they did a shortbread colorway, and it came with the, you know, the little mini with it for hose and heels and cuffs. No, for toes and heels and cuffs. And it was the tartan. And yeah, so I made him socks with that, and I had enough left over to do these mitts. And just in case I was running out, if I didn't have enough for the cuff of the mitt, I had an extra ball here. And this was actually one of my colorways for last year's Stephen West Shawlography. This was a Life in the Long Grass, but I just didn't like the Shawlography. And I stopped kind of halfway. I didn't like the way my colors were together. And I'm going to knit the knit along again this year. And I've gotten my yarns. And I think what I've decided is that I'm not going to buy yarns for that online. I really want to see them. So I think it was partially because, like, I didn't like parts of that pattern, the way they looked, because I fell behind. So then I could see how they were turning out at the end. And some of the things I was just like, I don't like that. And then I saw someone on Instagram who actually had bought the same kit as I did. And that kit was so flippin' expensive, I guess, with the shipping and everything, that, yeah, disappointing. Anyways, I learned my lesson. I got caught up in the thing, and yeah, I spent money I shouldn't have. But anyway, and they posted their finished object. And while it was nice, it didn't make me sing. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. That yarn cost me a lot, because I got the little, it wasn't just the yarn. I got the kit, you know, the bag and all that. So yeah, I drank all the Kool-Aid last year, and I'm not drinking it this year. I just shot my stash. And we'll see a little bit more about that in this. Do an unboxing just because Mimi's reaction is so cute. It's yarn I've already talked about. But so this is Nicole, Time Weaver. She has sent me the package of the yarn from Spain. Mimi, come here. And this costs €6.90 to send versus the 20. Mimi, come here. The company wanted to charge me for one skein. So let me cut it open, and then Mimi will get a sniff, and we'll get her opinion on the yarn. Memers. Okay, what's in here? Oh, they're both interested. What's in there? Do you smell oso? Do you smell oso? That's Nicole's doggy. Let's see. Okay, we're going to open the yarn. Oops, there's something else in there, but Mimi is only interested in yarn. She likes the smells. And that's where we ordered from. Picnits, ES. I mean, they do free shipping if you get a certain amount, but I'm on a yarn fast. Mimi, come look. And I didn't want to buy a bunch of yarn to get the free shipping. So, there it is. There's the North Star. Does that smell good? She wants somebody to throw the stick for. So let's see. I can tell. I think this looks a bit more beigey than the one I had, but that's okay. Let me get the other one. Let's compare out here in the sunlight. Alrighty, so in case you didn't see podcast 21 where I showed my yarns, here they all are. And they're all Irish dyed yarns. This is the one I just got. And you can see, maybe I should do this inside because of the glare, but let me put my shadow over it. That, I don't know if you can see, the beige is slightly darker, the main background color, and there's probably some more speckles, but in a shawl, you're not going to know. And that is the colorway North Star from Olan, and then the others is their colorway Burnish, and these are their sock light. It's a combination, I think it's 80% 80/20 superwash merino and nylon fingering. Wait, and then this is from Babel's Yarns, and this is her colorway Spice on the bamboozle base, which is again, of course, fingering. 60% muslin free merino, 25% bamboo, 15% nylon. And there are still some of her yarns left at Irish Fibre Crafters, and they're in the studio shop and also online. If all the colorways aren't online, you can email, because it's just hard. It's just a little volunteer place mainly. Although they are hoping to maybe be able to hire somebody for a couple hours a week, help keep the website updated. So, but if you email and ask about colors or what you want, I mean, someone will get back to you, and it'd probably be Sandra, because it's kind of a one-woman show at the minute. God love her, because I haven't been able to go help like I did when we first launched before COVID. Anyhow, what am I saying? So here's Nicole's lovely stitch markers she made as a gift for me to coordinate with my beautiful Stephen West Mkal set that I put together from my stash. So thank you, Nicole. You're such a sweetheart. And do check out her shop and her podcast, Time Weaver. She has patterns. She has a podcast in English and in Spanish. So if you're practicing your Spanish like me, also check out that Spanish one. Anyway, aren't fiber friends lovely? This is the best community, I swear. It just helps restore my faith in humanity if I'm feeling bad. So, love and kisses to you all. Also, as some of the prizes in the Curiostitches Cal, Nicole of Time Weaver is going to custom make some stitch markers for prize winners. So you will communicate with her, and you will tell her what stones, what colors you want, and she'll make you a set of stitch markers just for you. I think that's so lovely and special. Anyway, so I frogged as much as I could. The part that I like, I kept. I'll show you that. And because, I was cutting the yarn, so it'd be... Thought I heard our frog friend. It's funny that it's croaking with me right here. Anyway, so I ended up with a bunch of stupid little balls and some bigger balls. Anyway. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the Curiostitches Knit Along, the Curiostitches cowl. And my new cast on is another kind of Halloweeny, well, it's not kind of, another Halloweeny one, which I wish I was in the village because this would have been so good with my outfit. But anyway, so Amba O'Brien, I'm sure you know her as a designer. She's pretty famous designer. She is having her Halloween cowl. I'll put the information on the screen and down there. I can't remember what the hashtag is. But she's made a bundle on Ravelry, not like a buying bundle, but a bundle where you can go see all her different Halloween-y type patterns. And she's added 2 new ones this year. And one is called the Ghost Knitter's Shawl. And I bought that pattern. And I'll put a picture of it up here too. And I got the yarns. So I got, these are another more Irish dyed yarns. They're from Fine Leaf Fibres, and she dyes out in County Cork in Ireland. And I just want to show you as well with these yarns. I bought, I also have 2 other kind of Halloween-y colorways for her, but they're not in this project, so I'm not showing you. But when I got those all, look at the lovely postcard. And she sent this, which is fantastic. Frog agrees. And that's the Fine Leaf Fibres Blazing Heat trio set. So I'm going to definitely stitch that into here. I'd like to get some more of these. So that's going to be the main kind of garter stitchy portion of the shawl is in her fiber, which I got. This is the Fire Pit colorway, which I'm super excited about. Very much, you know, Samhain, which is Halloween here in Ireland, is an ancient fire festival. So there was always a fire. And when I was travel writing, I was able to go to County Meath, which is a great county for Halloween. This was before the pandemic, but there were so many Halloween things going on, haunted houses, everything. And in Trim, no. Anyways, I'll put that on the screen. There's a procession from the village up to the hill, and I've forgotten the name of the hill as well, but that's where the bonfire was since ancient times to celebrate Samhain. And so Fire Pit, even though it wasn't really a pit, well, you know, this is perfect and reminds me of that. So I wanted to show you for people that are new to hand-dyed yarns, because it can be so confusing, because I know when I first was into it, I was like, but how is it going to knit up? So I'll just show you a little bit. So this is the skein. When it's in a skein and you're just buying it like this, that's how this is looking. Then I rolled it into a ball because I don't have a cake winder machine. That's what it looks like in the ball. And then if you're just basically knitting a garter stitch, so depending on the size of what you're knitting in the stitches, it can look a little different, but this will basically give you an idea. So this is how it's knitting up. So this is going to be the main part of the shawl, and then we'll have the lace where the skulls are. And for that, this is one of the ones I got at the charity shop at the thrift store when I was in the States last October with my dad and all. And this one is Griffin Sock, Hermione Jean Creations, hand-dyed fibers and yarns. And it's a 75 superwash merino and 20% nylon, 5% lurex. And it's called Maple Leaves. I don't know who this dyer is or if they're still dyeing, but it's a 2-ply fingering weight. And it is so perfect to match up with the orange of this. Oh, and I didn't tell you. So she has these in a lot of different bases, but I got the BFL, the Blue Face Leicester base. So it's 80% superwash Blue Face Leicester and 20% nylon. And I really like BFL. It's a bit sturdier than like merino. It's soft. And this is kind of like, this feels to me kind of like a high twist, so I can imagine this would be super for socks. But I just wanted a nice sturdy base, and I just do like BFL. We can't, merinos don't thrive in the Irish climate, nor probably the UK climate. I don't think there are any merinos there. So if you're getting a blue-faced Leicester, it's probably coming, you know, from these two islands maybe. And I just like the thought of that it's a bit more local. So yeah, so I'm knitting that up, and I'm really excited. And I'm also excited to show you, oh, my leg's going to sleep. I made a project bag. So I made such a cheater's project bag. You can make one like this too. I'm not going to say it's going to be great or last you 1,000 years, but I will just tell you a bit of how I did that. I might do a little video in here too. So I have a sewing machine that Santa Claus brought me almost 2 years ago, and I have just, with everything that goes on, I haven't learned how to sew yet. And part of that is because I'm just a bit nervous about it, which is silly. But I had bought a whole bunch of fat quarters at the Knitwits and Crafty Stitchers, which is the little yarn and fabric shop up in Galway. And I'd bought some Halloween ones, and I was like, man, I'm knitting Halloween projects, and I only have one Halloween bag, which is from Fairy Realm Yarns, and I love her bags. She's on Etsy, and they're just so lovely. I probably talked about it before, and they have like 3 pockets, and yeah, they're fantastic. But I'm not ordering stuff really too much anymore, and so this project bag cost me maybe a $5, and I made it myself, and I did it such a super cheat way. I did it with fabric glue. So this is not like a recommendation, but that's what I did. So I just laid out this piece of this fat quarter and then a orange one, and I just glued them together, and then I, you know, folded down the top because it was really long. Like, I didn't cut them or anything. I'll show you what I did. But yeah, but it was just like, you know, had it done in 10 minutes. And it'll fit my yarns, and I'm going to do another one now, and I'm going to do it a bit more thoughtfully and try to make a bigger bag so I can add, you know, sort of like maybe 5 skeins in it. But yeah, look, it's fine. And then I just tied a ribbon around it there. It's not even threaded in. I mean, look, that's still rough. I didn't do that properly. But, you know, I just wanted a bag to put in my new cast on, and I did that. So yeah, if you're like super dodgy like me, I know, like Allie of It's a Wonderful Life? No. Little Drops of Wonderful. She sews these bags. She calls them dodgy bags. This is a super dodgy bag. Like, this is like an extra, you know, extra bag where you're chancing your arm making it. And how long is it going to last? I don't know. Like the fabric glue. But anyway. So yeah, so that is my new whip and my new cast on, the Ghost Knitter Shawl by Amba O'Brien. And also, I will just show you a few other wee things that are coming up. Also in yarn dyeing and natural dyeing. So I was just chancing my arm once again, thought, let me see what this does. So I have some oak bark from Grandmother Oak, my special oak tree, who had a partial mishap, and about 40% of her, we just won't go into that because I get really upset. Anyways, about 40% of her is on the ground, but she's recovering. She's not dying, but because 40% of her was on the ground, I went and harvested bark, and I put it in, you know, a bird food tub, empty bird food tub, and just forgot about it, set it out, and so it got rained on and it got soaked. So at the bottom was a bunch of liquid, and as you might know if you play around with natural dyes, that the oak bark and the acorns have tannin in them, which is like mordants naturally. You don't need a mordant with it. And I was just looking at that, and it was such a dark brown. I thought, what will happen if I just stick a skein of yarn in it, right? So I did. I mean, it wasn't a whole lot of water. It was about like that, and just some pieces of bark in it. So I had a skein of that lovely Galway breed wool, which is a beautiful white, and I literally just put it in there, freezing cold water, outside water and just sort of left it for a day, like an overnight in the next 24 hours, and rinsed it out, and it made this lovely, just kind of just a light sort of brown color, taupe. Anyway, that's probably pretty true. So it's the, it has, I mean, I didn't filter it, didn't take all the little pieces of bark out, so it needs to obviously be shaken out and, probably washed again. I just rinsed it. But that was interesting. So, I mean, that was the ultimate lazy ass way. Dyeing a bit of yarn. I mean, I didn't put heat on it or anything, so you probably would get a richer color if you did different things. But yeah, so that was just me playing around. But I'm going to send the rest of that bark up and the rest of that water up to Sandra, my friend Sandra King, who is Meet the Wool, and also she is the woman behind Irish Fiber Crafters, and she has a little dye studio, and she does a lot of dyeing with the things we grow here at Wild Cottage. So I'm going to send her some of those barks, and she's going to dye up some things for me as well. But I just threw that in there because this was just happened to be the white skein that I had. So yeah, and it was 100 grams. And so that happened. And then let me just, I've got the bits of it all over me. So I was going to show you some future plans, but I have a feeling, oh, but this is way too long. So next time we'll show you some future plans. And I have a couple little knitting tips that I found handy, but I think I've just really made this way too long. So, okay. So next week. And don't forget to enter in the Curiostitches Cal on Instagram or via the email. And I will be picking the first winner for that on the 30th of September 2022. Okay, taking a second to thank Tom, my knitting helper, who had to pick up a bunch of stitches for me when I had to rip back and was too frustrated to pick up those things myself. Okay, now what you're waiting for, I'm going to put up on the screen and announce the winners. Giveaway. The winners are Sarah Purnell, Denise Wilson, Judy S., and Handmade Designs. And I used the random number generator to pick. Thank you everyone who entered. And winners, if you will email me your Ravelry name, or just email me if you don't use Ravelry, and I can get you the pattern from the website. So email me at wildcottagepodcast@gmail.com. And congratulations and enjoy your knitting, and I look forward to seeing your projects on the Curiostitches Cal. Okay, everyone. See you next week.